this is Felissa Rose. I'm Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to Rock Video Rental.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Rock Video Rental. I am Brandon, and with me, as always, is Caleb. We are chugging along with Rocktober 6, and we are talking about 1982's The House on Sorority Row. It is directed by Mark Rossman, and the plot is, after seemingly innocent prank goes horribly wrong, a group of sorority sisters are stalked and murdered one by one in their sorority house while throwing a party to celebrate their graduation. Now, the cast, we got Kate McNeil as Catherine, Eileen Davison as Vicky, Janice Ward as Liz, Robin Malloy as Jeannie, Harley Jane Kozak as Diane, Jodie Drake as Morgan, Ellen Dorsher as Stevie, and Lois Kelso Hunt as Mrs. Slater. This is a movie I've seen a handful of times, and I always consider this one of the better slashers to never have a sequel.
Okay.
It does have a remake from like the late 2000s.
All right.
I think it was maybe early 2010s. I don't remember. I watched it once and I didn't think it was all that great. Uh, I think this movie has one of the worst, for how good of a slasher movie it is. It has one of the worst posters. It looks like the cover of a romance novel. Like there should be, it's like this girl wearing like really flowy clothes in front of a window, and I feel like Fabio should be next to her or something. I
That's
can't
fun.
believe it's not Bata.
I do agree with you. It definitely looks like the cover of a romance novel.
Yeah,
There's not
pretty
really,
brutal. And that's like the only one you see too
it's not
of it.
really anything scary related to it.
No, not at all. Uh, yeah, even this, I have it on CED, and even the CED label of it is just that crappy romance novel cover.
Hmm.
But
Well, I will say I feel like, and I'll probably have to explain things at some point once we go through and give our final thoughts. I feel like this was a fresh take. Well, I don't know if I should say fresh take, but like in the movies we've watched this month, and even comparing to a lot of the other horror movies we've watched, I feel like this is different. There
yeah,
was,
it's got a different feel to it.
yeah, it's a little bit refreshing because honestly, when I started watching this, I was totally prepared for some total cliche sorority girl house, all the girls get killed, you know, it, try to throw in as much nudity and like cliches as possible, and it wasn't that as much
Yeah.
as I anticipated. And so it was kind of, I don't know if it's so much that I had preconceived ideas before going in and it wasn't that. And so that was refreshing, or if it was actually overall even better than a lot of other horror movies just in general.
Yeah, it's one of them I feel like is a little overlooked,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think that that cover is doing it much service. But yeah, it does do some different things, like being an early 80s slasher, it spends a little more time building some characters. I mean, there's a lot of characters in it,
Mm-hmm.
so some of them are just kind of like there to get killed. But you get the house mother who's a horrible actress. Um, she gets a little backstory where it's like, oh, she has a miscarriage, and then like all of a sudden she's a house mother at a sorority to kind of like make up for the fact that she doesn't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get like the main girl. They kind of flesh her out a little bit, and then you get the girl with the gun. who's I say they build out these characters, but the names I don't pay super close attention to, but it's like,
I was just gonna say I got mixed up on the name so many times.
yeah, yeah. And the one with the gun, the blonde one,
Was that
she's
Vicky?
kind of like, yeah, she's kind of like the leader and the rebellious one.
And also she's the one who's pegged out to be like essentially the slut of the group.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The promiscuous one, yeah. But
With the waterbed.
yeah. Waterbed that the house mother um pokes a hole into.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it's kind of weird that it's like, okay, she closes the house on June 19th. Well, we know that on June 19th was the day that her son was supposed to be born and it was a stillbirth.
Hmm.
So it's like it's a grieving day for her and I'm like, do sorority houses close?
I
Like I thought they were more like apartments more than they were dorms.
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess I never really paid attention to fraternity or sorority houses. But it would make
Yeah, I don't
sense to
know.
me that they're open year round though.
Yeah, because that's like where the people actually live. They have like this gross pool that they complain about numerous times. Like we have this nice pool, but we don't get to use it. Um, but we get to see some of the personalities of the girls and everything. Um, and this is more of like it kind of turns into a whodunit kind
Hmm.
of slasher, where it's like you don't know who the killer is until like the end of it.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not one of those where it's like they show the killer, he's killing the people, and it's not the one where it's like it's blatantly obvious. Um, I I guess it's still kind of obvious where it's like, okay, it's not Mrs. Slater because they find her body like in the house wrapped up in a
They
blanket
didn't
or whatever.
they didn't check that was her.
Yeah.
Like that was
So
that
it's
was
like,
the
well, it could be her, it could be something else. And then it kind of comes as a surprise towards the end where it's like, okay, it's her son, Eric, who's doing it. Like he wasn't a stillbirth. It was
yeah.
like the doctors were in on it or something like that.
I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. Like I kind of got it, but also it was definitely a far stretch where they're essentially saying, "Oh, he has to stay in an institute for like the whole year except for we release him to you for the summer." But he's mentally unstable, so good luck with that, by the way.
Yeah. I was just like, she closes on June 19th. Is she celebrating Juneteenth?
Oh, I didn't even
That's what I was wondering.
didn't
I'm
even put
like, wait
that
a
together.
minute. Yeah, that just randomly popped in my head. But yeah, so we find out it's Eric, the long lost son. Um, Surprisingly, not the only slasher movie with a killer named Eric. There's one that has Pauly Shore in it, dude,
Oh gosh,
called Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge or something like that.
that's funny.
It's actually not that bad. Pauly Shore is actually halfway decent in it. But yeah, you get your typical, and the girls start dying. And then I felt like we've done a fair amount of them where they have a party that has like this live band and the band kind of sucks.
Yep, there's been a few of
Uh,
those recently.
My Bloody Valentine had a band for their dance. The Prowler had a band.
The cheerleader camp.
Yeah, cheerleader camp. At least with this one, they didn't have terrible rapping. Um, uh, I think the things that this movie does fairly well. Some of the shots are pretty decent.
Hmm.
I think the one scene that I remember the most from this movie, and I'm sure you're gonna know what I'm talking about, it happens towards the end, and it's shot so incredibly well. So we get our final girl, who of course I didn't write down any of their names, but Catherine.
Catherine. Yeah.
is her name? Yeah, she's being chased through the house, and like at this point we know it's Eric. The doctor gives her a sedative to like calm her down,
Yeah.
and but he doesn't like warn her about it. He just like sticks her with a needle.
Hmm.
But anyway, so she's trying to get through the house and get away from Eric, and she sets up a trap. And that's like, the smart resourcefulness of a final girl that's always in good slasher movies. And she goes up like into the attic where there's like all these toys, and she sets a jack in a box by the ladder of the attic, and she turns it on, and she has a gun, and she's standing there like waiting for him to, climb up the ladder to come get her.
Hmm.
And this whole time there's like this big like uh Harlequin clown toy
Yeah.
behind her. And like you just kind of see it over her shoulder out of focus, and they like focus in on her. She's watching the ladder, and all of a sudden that Harlequin clown turns its head and looks at her, and then
Mm.
gets up and comes towards her. That is by far the best shot in this movie.
Oh yeah.
I thought this handled so well, and it made me think. I always say that the scene in Halloween where Michael Myers like slowly appears behind Laurie in
In
the
the dark.
darkness, and you
Yeah.
could barely see his mask. That is my all-time favorite shot in a horror movie.
Hmm.
And also in Halloween, we got the one where, it sits up
Yeah.
straight up, like, yeah, while she's kneeled on the floor crying. But yeah, it's just handled so well in this. And I have to say, too, that this movie has more scenes with a killer clown in it than the Funhouse does. And the Funhouse's poster has a killer clown on the front.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. Like, can we swap posters for this movie in Funhouse? But, and then it made me laugh too because she's got the gun and like he tries to wrestle away from her. She gets away and then she fires shots at him.
And
And I was just
completely
thinking,
misses.
I was like, Harry, you're alive. You're a terrible shot. If she misses, she empties the entire gun and doesn't hit him once. And she's like at point blank range. And But she grabs an old doll, pulls the head off, and it's got like a spike on it, and stabs him with it. And that's how he dies.
Well, does he die?
Mm.
Yeah, actually, speaking about that, because that's right at the end. Um, I don't know how I feel about the ending. Like,
Yeah, the ending is a little clunky. Other than the scene where he's all of a sudden dressed like a clown, hiding and waiting for the opportunity to grab her. Other than that, I don't think it was handled the best way.
yeah, like I appreciate that they didn't drag it out too much on being like, oh, he's dead. Oh, he's alive. Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's alive. Um, but they did do it once where and it as soon as he fell down, she stabbed him, he fell down, and then she lays down. I'm just like, okay, gonna get the horror movie trope, like she's gonna get up and he's not gonna be there, or he's gonna move or something.
Yeah,
So, and then they left it wide open where I don't know. I mean, it's not make or break, but it's one of those things where some people are gonna be fine with it, and some of your viewership is gonna be annoyed that you decide to end it that way.
yeah, for sure. A little clunky at the end, and then the whole stuff with um the doctor,
Being bad.
yeah, being bad and like uh oh Eric, like with Eric, oh actually being alive and all this stuff, and I'm like, that was a little clunky too and convoluted, where it could have just been like, it would have been better off if it's like she Mrs. Slater didn't know that Eric survived, and um he was just kept from her, and he just like somehow just shows up more than just like, oh, we release him once a year. Yeah, that whole thing, that was a little clunky and a little strange.
I I didn't mind that too much. Um yeah, it was clunky. It was something that's kind of a plot hole and everything. What I was a little bothered with, and I understand why, but the doctor pretending to befriend her and then help and then fake calling the police and everything,
Yeah,
like I don't know, it that
it was another
I
added direction that didn't need to happen.
yeah, I kind of understood the need for it, but also didn't think it was really necessary. Now, I will admit, like once the reveal that the doctor was like going to use her as bait or whatever and everything, that was kind of like, oh snap, like this guy's a total, douchebag. He's going to use her to cover up what he's done and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Uh, um, I think it would have been better if the Doctor was more like a Dr. Loomis character.
yeah, that's what I was kind of expecting.
Yeah, where he comes in and he just empties his gun on him and somehow he's still alive. But I guess that would have made this more of a Halloween ripoff,
Mm,
which I mean, you can see the Halloween influence on it. You can see the Halloween influence on every 80s slasher. So,
yeah.
if you really want to pick things apart, but uh some of the acting in this is a little clunky. There's one girl who's the one of the blonde girls. I God, I can't remember her name either. But they're talking about, oh, somebody people are getting killed off, and it's like, um, we should have called the cops. Like that Catherine keeps saying, and but Vicky wouldn't let her. It's like we should have called the cops with Mrs. Slater with their terrible prank.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know how we haven't covered that yet, but I guess after I tell this part, I will cover that. But they're like, she was alive, like, and we left her for dead, and the blonde girl's just like, how do we know she is alive? And that's like exactly how she reads that line. And I started to wonder, I'm like, is this character like, does she have an accent that she's trying to like cover up with a bad American accent?
I don't know.
Or does she have like a speech impediment? Like I couldn't quite figure it out. But
Maybe the
the reading of
director,
that line was so atrocious.
maybe the director was just like, "All right, I want you to do it this time, but really emphasize the word is."
Yeah, is, and I want to make it, I want you to sound like you, when you were running away, that you accidentally fell and bit your tongue. So your voice is going to sound a little weird, but you got to emphasize is.
I
But
want you
so the
s-
whole thing that really starts this movie that somehow we kind of just didn't talk about
Yeah.
was Mrs. Slater's kind of a biatch and won't let them celebrate their graduation, which I understand, house mother not wanting them to have this big rager of a party, but they decide they're gonna, after she pops the waterbed, that they're gonna pull this prank on her. And Vicky's idea of a prank is to get a gun from her boyfriend and like hold up Mrs. Slater and make her go into the nasty pool. And then she tries to wrestle the gun away from her, and she accidentally shoots her, and she falls into the pool. And then you just kind of like sink her at the bottom of it. They're like, this water's disgusting. Nobody's gonna go in here. Like, let's just keep her in here and have our party. Where, of
Yeah.
course, Catherine's a level-headed one, and she's like, we need to call the cops. It was a total accident. We'll just explain, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah. And Vicky's like, no, we're having this party. And she's like kind of psychotic. But yeah.
Party's more important. Party. Woo woo.
And then they think Mrs. Slater came back and is killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we know she is alive? So I guess I can get into kills. Haven't covered that part yet. So we got Mrs. Slater. She is accidentally shot in the chest by Vicky. Brad is impaled through the neck by Eric with a cane. Stevie Landon is stabbed multiple times by Eric with a cane. Morgan is stabbed in the back with a cane. Diane is hand is stabbed and head is stabbed with Eric by the cane. A lot of cane kills. Jeannie has her neck slashed by Eric with a chef's knife and is later decapitated. Her kappa is detated from her body. Then we get Vicky is stabbed in the eye with the cane. Dr. Nelson is stabbed multiple times by Eric with a cane and he fell down the balcony. And then Eric is stabbed multiple times with a dowel. Debatable. Did he die?
Mm-hmm.
So, not a huge body count, but a decent sized one, especially for 1982. Um, this one's really not one that's known for like crazy kills, inventive kills. The most notable one is probably when they find Jeannie's head in the toilet. They show that clip of Jeannie's head in the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one is probably, I don't know, like the money shot of the movie. Yeah, people, like if you look up House on Sorority Row, that's one of the first things that comes up.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
And the clown.
that was one of the most extensive special effects part.
Yeah, for sure. And it kind of made me think of the scene from Pieces with the girl sawed in half and like all the blood all over the toilet and everything. Uh, it just it's not a funny thing. They showed Jeannie's head in the toilet, and then you get that clip of Tom Arnold and Austin Powers. Dang boy, what did you eat? Oh man. But anything else to talk about? You want me to get into trivia?
Trivium facts.
Rock. This movie is similar to the 1930s uh Myrna Loy classic 13 Women, which is considered by some to be the very first slasher movie. It is about a woman who is rejected from a sorority and gets revenge by causing murders of all of its members.
Hmm.
Lois Kelso Hunt's performance was entirely dubbed over. Her voice was deemed not, quote, scary enough for the role. And the special edition DVD from Liberation Entertainment, the film's director, Mark Rosman, comments that he believed that she had the right look for the part, but ideally would have preferred to have a huskier voice, with Lois's being too high pitched than he would have liked. So maybe that had something to do with like how bad of an actress she was.
Hmm.
I don't know. The gory payoffs of the murder scenes were added after the shoot and filmed in the backyard of the director.
Oh,
This was selected by Quentin Tarantino for the first Quentin Tarantino Film Festival in Austin, Texas in 1996.
rock.
So the director lived in the sorority house during the shooting of the movie.
Hmm.
The picture was retitled House of Evil for its British release in the UK.
That's odd.
Yeah. So, um, Lois Kelso Hunt, the actress who played Mrs. Slater, performed the stunt of falling into the pool herself,
Hmm.
which, I mean, she's falling into a pool.
Yeah. Watch out.
Uh,
Better give her a pay raise.
right? Does her own stunts, just like Tom Cruise.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah. Oh my God. Uh, so the key reason the filmmakers decided to kill off Harley Jane Kozak's character, Diane, early in the film is because they thought that Kozak and Eileen Davidson looked too much alike due to their similar hairstyles. So your
That's
character's gonna die because you guys kind of look a lot alike. Uh, there was an alternative ending shot for the film that would have followed right where the film currently ends, cutting into the police taking dead bodies out of the swimming pool. The face down body of the person in the clown costume was to be floating in the pool, and when turned over, it would reveal Catherine in a suit.
hmm.
This ending was rejected as being too downbeat, and the distributors also insisted more gore be added to the film.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. And the last thing I got is this movie had a $425,000 budget and it made 10.6 million in the box office.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Dude, early 80s slashers cost nothing and made tons. Uh, Friday the
uh,
13th was definitely one of those. But great. IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, what do you think they are?
uh, 5.9.
It is a 5.9.
Oh, snap. All right. Rotten Tomato, let's go 71.
It is a 50.
Dang it. Okay. 71 for the audience?
61.
Boo.
I guess I will go first. This is a slasher movie I think is pretty good. I would put it towards the top of, quality for a lot of them. This one I feel like, take some time to build their characters. Uh, the camera work is pretty good, especially that shot with the clown at the end. It's handled really well. It's not overly gory, but I mean that's all right. It's still effective. And other than that one girl being terrible at that line delivery, the acting's really not that bad. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting because it's the weapon of choice is a cane with a bird on the end of it with a pointy tail. That's kind of an interesting weapon to use in this movie. But I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's pretty solid. I think it would have been a little bit better if they cleaned up the ending a little bit. Just, I feel like it loses some traction there towards the end.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
I am actually right there with you. I was between a 4 and a 4.5. And I think well, I am gonna land with the 4.5 because like I said, it just felt kind of uh fresher, kind of a fresh take. And not saying like they did anything amazing or new, but I thought they were going to go down a cliche path, and they didn't. It had some interesting aspects to it. Again, not a ton with originality. Yes, there were certainly parts that could have been improved, but it was paced well. It was entertaining. It gave some curveballs, and so I think when you can put that stuff together and how well they did it, there were probably just a few things that could have been done that could have even made this like a 5 out of 5, honestly. Like it wasn't that far off where if they could have cleaned up a couple things and maybe improved on a couple things, I would even consider giving it more credit to a 5 out of 5. Um, and I don't know, I'm kind of having a hard time putting my finger on it on exactly what it is that helps set this movie apart. I mean, here we are. We're already like, I mean, we're getting close to the end of the month, and this is one of the best movies of the month. I
Hmm.
know that some of the movies that we watched this month were not exactly going to be uh competing for the best film during this segment.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is definitely there at the top. So I finished at 4.9 4.5 out of 5.
Rock. Yeah, I think the biggest difference with this and uh, some other slasher movies is I mention this all the time. You can really appreciate when a slasher movie tries, and
Hmm.
like it's just not just there trying to rake in a bunch of money. Where it's like the person who made this actually wanted to make a great film,
Yeah.
and that's what I feel like this one. It has like some love and some passion behind it, and that shows on the screen.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But if you guys are liking the show, you can subscribe and share. We're on pretty much every platform. You can find us on YouTube and TikTok as well. You can go to our website is at rockvideorental.com. I have lots of blogs on there with horror movie reviews. There's like some top 10 lists and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that stuff, check that out. Yeah, like you said, we're getting close to the end here. Um, and next time we're going to be talking about an interesting slasher movie starring a future Hollywood star, and that is Cutting Class. But until then, as always, be kind and rewind.